like so much adrenaline goes into it. When you're finished and you start to relax, you just realize, oh, my arms are hurting so much. Something that I could see in your eyes yesterday when we were climbing, and you had that moment of fear and feeling really scared and saying to me, Fay, am I safe?
I'm Selema Masekela. After over 25 years of broadcasting in the world of action sports, I have seen an overabundance of risk-taking.
But risk has many faces.
It doesn't just live on the mountain or in the half pipe.
It keeps dominion over the skies.
The land, the sea, and 1,000 places in between.
Embracing risk is like signing a contract with yourself. You have to put a piece of you off to the side and lay it all on the line in order to do what you love.
And in this season, I'll be traveling the world to meet some of the most exceptional people on earth who have signed that very contract. People who have built a personal relationship with risk, embody it, and perform it at the highest level.
Welcome to the Team Ignition Show.
My guest today is quite a unique woman. She used to live what I would call a square life. She had a respectable job in an office in a city. She was living her then best life. But then something happened. She caught a bug. She found a passion that would lead her to the mountains, to where she would not engage in mountain climbing as a hobby. She would become a full-on alpinist. She is one of the best rock and ice climbers in the world. She skis the steepest of descents, and as of late, she is known as quite a good instructor of ice climbers. I am her first student. Please help me welcome to the podcast the one and only Fay Manners. Hello, Fay Manners.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Did I describe you accurately?
Yeah, that was a really nice description. Thank you.
Right off the bat, yesterday, you took me ice climbing. For those of you who are watching and want to see how I did, you can watch the Team Ignition Show YouTube to see. But I'm going to ask you, how did I do as a fledgling ice climber? Be honest.
I was impressed with your ice axe technique. Every blow into the ice, perfect.
So you're saying it looked like I handled the tools before?
Exactly, but crampons,
Yeah.
a little bit more work.
Okay. Well, I am interested in re-upping, if you will. I really would like to do it again. In my brief experience with you, there was a feeling of freedom that I never had before. And I spent a lot of time in the mountains, but I've never mountain climbed. Mountain climbers, as I've known them, tend to be a pretty unique breed. I'm curious why you do it.
I really enjoy the feeling of uncertainty. You come up to a wall, to a rock wall, to an ice climb. You don't really know what to expect. You have so much doubt in your mind about whether you're going to make it up. You don't know how hard it's going to be. You don't know if you feel mentally or physically strong enough that day. And you start climbing and everything comes together and the doubt fades. You really start to feel a bit of flow in the movement. You start to feel at home again. You're enjoying it. You're alone in the mountains and everything sinks into a feeling of enjoyment, and the feeling of doubt and that being afraid and a little bit scared about what's to come, it kind of decreases, and you just feel this flow of climbing, and it just makes you feel really deeply satisfied that you've overcome that little bit of fear that you had at the beginning. And I think that's a really special feeling, and probably something that I could see in your eyes yesterday when we were climbing, and you had that moment of fear and feeling really scared and saying to me, Fay, am I safe?
You're putting me on blast here. But I did. I said, am I going to be okay?
And you were. And then afterwards...
We were laughing.
at the end of the climb, you were like, actually, I really like ice climbing. I think I could do this again.
Yeah, I really do want more. There was that fear that I had to overcome. And I don't know if it was because of you, because you're just a contagious, joyful person, but you were laughing like the entire way. And I'm wondering, like, when you're out doing, you know, we were in the kiddie pool, but when you're out doing the big adult high risk stuff, do you approach it with that same sort of joy? Are you laughing all the time?
Yeah, I mean, not all of the time. Obviously, there's moments where I feel a lot of pressure and I'm quite scared. But also, I think to myself, okay, Faye, when you were on the sofa at home eating your chocolate, watching TV, and you came up with this idea that you wanted to try this really challenging climb, you know, you wanted this, like you're doing this for enjoyment. So for me, if I'm not in the mountains and I'm not laughing and having fun and enjoying being there, then it's not worth being there. So for me, I have to be enjoying like climbing and enjoying the moment. And obviously with that, you just accept that there's going to be some moments where maybe it's like type 2 fun, where you're like, actually, I'm not going to enjoy this until afterwards when it's over. But
joy is the theme.
Yeah, joy is the theme.
As I said in your intro, you used to be a regular person.
Regular.
Yeah.
I'm still a regular person.
No. You're not a regular person anymore. Now you're essentially an Avenger.
Okay.
But you once were of the common folk. You had a regular job. You lived in the city. And by most people's sort of definition, and I'm curious about your family as well, you were accomplished. You know, you'd done the things that everyone trained to do to like live your like rather safe existence. So what were you doing before this?
So I was traveling around different cities. I lived in London and New York, and I was working as a data scientist.
What does that mean?
So mainly in business intelligence, I was like visualizing data and creating reports for people within an organization. So I worked in the corporate grind. I was working, I guess, I'd like to say 9 to 5, but I was working definitely more hours than that. At the time, I really enjoyed the job. Like, I still really enjoy like the concept of data and turning data into like information and knowledge that can be used to make decisions. And I now use that for climbing mountains. But yeah, that's where I started. That's where I was like 10 years ago in New York, manipulating data.
So when people like had ideas in the boardroom, you were the one to be like, "That's cute, but have you seen the data?"
But it's wrong. Yeah.
"That's cute. I love your dreams, but let me hit you with this data."
Exactly.
And show you why you're wrong or how you might be able to do this right based on the receipts.
Exactly. And it was quite a creative job.
It was creative. You were working harder than you maybe wanted to.
Yeah.
But there was joy there.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed living in the city as well.
So you didn't hate your job?
No.
So what happened then? We're in Chamonix in the Alps, and you climb mountains for a living now. And this was only a few years ago. What happened?
So I guess there was something internally that shifted as I started to venture into the mountains and discover these sports, skiing and climbing. I've always been very sporty. Like at school, it was like a different sport every day.
What were you playing?
Water polo, swimming, field hockey, netball, badminton, like every sport.
Netball, that's the basketball with no dribbling and no backboard, right?
Exactly.
Where do you say, "Stop!"
It's a great sport.
And you get to shoot the ball and no one tries to block you.
No, you can be blocked, but you can't be touched.
Can't be touched. Okay.
Exactly.
So you played that.
Yeah, I loved team sports, and I still really like team sports. But in New York, it was actually pretty tricky to find a field hockey team, and it was difficult to be like moving all the time.
No netball in any of the 5 boroughs.
Maybe there was some netball. Do you have netball in the
No,
US?
we don't have
Okay.
netball. There was no. You weren't.
Is
there
that
was-
just a British game?
It's British. My family's from South Africa.
Okay.
They play it there. I see it in the Olympics, and I feel like that's the only place it exists.
That's why I
Yeah.
couldn't find a netball
Yeah,
team.
you weren't.
Okay. I was looking
It
in the
wasn't
wrong
that you
place.
weren't. It wasn't that you weren't looking hard enough.
Okay. And so then I was looking for sports that I could do, just go to at the weekend. And I was kind of alone in New York. It was difficult to meet people. So I was thinking, okay, can I do some sports where I can just do them alone, go solo? And so I discovered climbing and skiing. And
So you didn't grow up skiing,
no,
and you did not grow up climbing.
no.
You were not a climber as a child.
No, absolutely not. I didn't really even know that climbing existed. I mean, now there's loads of indoor climbing walls. So I guess more people are familiar with climbing. But for me, it just wasn't even a sport.
Do you remember your first climb?
The first hook was just going indoors to Brooklyn Boulders. And I just really like the sense of community there.
In the climbing gym.
Exactly. And when you're bouldering, it's like a really easy way to meet people because people are kind of sitting around on the mat and they're just like, oh, like this is how you do that problem. Like, let me show you how to do it. It's like very friendly, like warm way to meet people and make new friends. And then from that, I kind of enjoyed the sport and I liked the people. And I had some friends that took me outside to the Gunks, which is conglomerate rock based in New Jersey. It's like really beautiful rock. There are all these like horizontal cracks that you could climb. A really interesting place because I think climbing started there in like the 1930s. So it actually has quite a lot of history. And it was a really great place to climb outside. And I think from that climbing experience, I kind of got a bit addicted with like touching rock and just like that feeling of being outdoors and having this like nice, friendly climbing community, kind of supporting each other, telling each other how to climb.
You were no longer lonely.
I was no longer lonely.
Some people go to touch grass. You found touching rock.
Exactly. Yeah.
You found this community, right? Now you've got like a social group outside of the cubicle. Mm-hmm. At some point, you got more curious.
Yeah. It was kind of an overbearing curiosity while I was in New York because I was working really long hours. I had minimal holiday and I felt like I'd found something that I was really passionate about, but I couldn't explore. So at that point, I had kind of two options. I got offered a job in San Francisco and automatically I was thinking, I can be close to Yosemite. Mm-hmm. And this could be like a really cool opportunity. But then I realized it's just more of the same. And so at that point, I was like, okay, I need to go back home to the UK and reassess what I really want because I was kind of stuck in this wheel of not really knowing how to kind of get out of it and pursue these like new passions and dreams that I'd found. And so I moved back to the UK, lived on a canal boat to try and save some money and found a new job there. And then it was really cool because I went back to the UK and I started climbing in the UK. And the rock climbing is very traditional and it's actually really incredible rock climbing. So I had this like, I grew up in the UK, never climbed, and then came back with this like newfound passion and then started exploring all of the rock in the UK, which was like really, really nice. It felt like kind of reinvigorating to kind of be back in my country and be seeing like a different side to it. Mm. And from there was when I really decided, okay, I need to make like a bigger life change where I can just be like really close to the mountains, try and work remotely because working in a city is not fulfilling me anymore. And then that's when I decided to move to Chamonix, just because it is the most well-known mountaineering destination. It's like the mountaineering capital of Europe. And so I was like, I have to move to Chamonix.
I got to go to where the there is.
Exactly.
All right, I'm going to switch out of my role as podcast host and become both your mother and your father.
Okay. That's a very strange thought.
Forgive my accent. Fay, what are you doing?
Was that my mother or my father?
That was your mom.
Okay.
And your dad standing over her shoulder being like, yeah, what are you doing? What was their response?
They were definitely like, okay, there's no way that you can earn any money doing anything to do with sports. So make sure you keep hold of that data job. I honestly, even to this day, I don't really think my mum understands what I do. Whenever I have a phone conversation with her, she's like, how was the day on the piste? How's the skiing? She doesn't really know that I'm skiing steep, exposed lines, but I'm also okay to keep it that way.
Right.
I don't want to worry her.
So they love you, they support you.
Yeah.
But they actually kind of in a cool way don't really get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, wait till they see this podcast. When you got here to Chamonix, was it what you thought it would be?
I think it was much harder than what I thought it would be. I came here pretty ignorant in terms of my understanding of mountaineering.
Yeah. Hey, I was at this really cool gym in Brooklyn, and then I went to Jersey, and I've been in England for a bit. Like, hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah, I've done some single pitch climbing and a little bit of skiing, but yeah, arriving in Chamonix, it's very extreme. Just to give you an example, in the first week that I arrived, I wanted to find a really classic alpine route, something to kind of warm up on, get to know the area, test myself. And I climbed a route called the Col de Plat. It's kind of a very classic alpine route, and there's a lot of snow. There's a tiny bit of rock, a little bit of mixed climbing. It's not too difficult. And didn't really look at the conditions. Just thought, okay, I'll just go climb it. Climbed it on a powder day. So there's like so much snow. So I'm like wading through all the snow, trying to walk up. So as I was wading through the snow, as I was climbing up, I saw these skiers above me, and they're like, doing these turns. They're like sloughing all the snow down on me. I'm shouting up at them like, this is so dangerous. What are you doing here? I'm climbing. And they're like, what the hell are you doing here? I'm skiing. And it was just like this big realization for me that a lot of the climbing routes now are being skied by extreme skiers. And for me, I was like completely ignorant to that when I first arrived. And it's all these like learnings about how extreme this place is that I kind of learned in the first couple of years. And maybe it was something that I found really challenging and quite difficult in the beginning, but it's actually one of the reasons that I love the place now.
That's like an eye-opening moment into like what you've descended into. Keeping track of all the things you're good at is very hard. We talked about this before the podcast. You learned to ski in Vermont while you were in New York. Vermont is the farthest thing from the Alps that any place could be. Like Vermont's a pebble. No offense to the Vermonters.
But teaches you how to ski ice.
Right. So you get a relationship with shit terrain because it's ice. But then you come to this Mecca, and in a very short time, you're also a world-class steep skier now. How, in such a short period of time, have you been able to acquire so many skills that, like, you're not just adding in as like, oh, this is a thing I kind of know how to do, that you're doing at the highest level? Mountain climbing, mixed rock climbing, the discovery of ice. Also, like, I can ski the steepest routes with like the highest stakes in the world. Like, how did you do this?
I guess the turning point for me when I was in Chamonix was actually during COVID. There was a point in time where the lifts were closed and nobody could do anything. And then there was a point in time where, okay, people could start doing things, but the lifts were still closed. And I was in Chamonix at this point, and I'd been running marathons, and I was super fit. So I had like really good endurance. And everyone else was kind of used to the lifts and using the lifts. So
they're baking bread like the rest of us.
Yeah. So when COVID happened, the lifts closed, everyone was like, okay, we'll just like chill in the valley, we'll just wait till they open. Whereas I was like really motivated, still wanted to go up and venture into the mountains. and didn't want anything to really prevent me from being in Chamonix and finally being in this beautiful place and being able to enjoy it. So I would just get up at like 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, anytime with my head torch. I would skin up like 2,000 meters into the Argentière Basin. And then couloirs that usually are really crowded and really popular, you know, there'd be like queues to be skiing these like amazing long 1,000-meter couloirs, and there was nobody. And so it just felt like this beautiful, remote, wild location with all these incredible lines because nobody was there because no one wanted to walk up. And so for me, I had this time. I didn't have this pressure. I could take as long as I needed to ski something steep. I could concentrate on my technique. I could stop if I need to. I just had that like time. And that for me was like a really big like turning point, because I had the time to improve my skills without pressure. And also because the valley felt so wild, there weren't, you know, footsteps and tracks already in. So it felt like I was doing all this stuff that nobody had done before, even though it's in all the guidebooks.
COVID gave you the room to engage in like this weird 10,000 hours, multiple side quests pursuit. But I really love that the way you're able to explain like being able to sit in a chute or a couloir and like stop and get the data.
Yeah.
Like you're not rushed. It's not finite. It's not going to be tracked out because you're the only person up there making tracks, but that you got to get all of this data. And I imagine you took that approach to climbing as well during that time.
Yeah, and just researching routes that people hadn't climbed in a long time. And, you know, you can go and repeat routes, but if people haven't climbed them in 10 years, 15 years, the conditions might have changed. Maybe the belays are not as good anymore. So there's still like that uncertainty, even though you know that it's been done. It hasn't been done recently. So there's still that kind of little bit of uncertainty and doubt. So just repeating routes that you just don't have information on or haven't been done in a long time, that also really helped me to kind of gather that expertise and experience to kind of make judgment calls on, is this safe? Should I go? Like navigation on the route. Should I go left? Should I go right? And all of these kinds of experiences just really developed my skills really, really quickly.
At what point does this transition from person who's working remotely, living in Chamonix and learning this lifestyle in the hotbed of the culture, to the opportunity or the discovery even that you could actually do this as a living, that how you live can also be how you work?
Well, it was like a slow discovery actually, because I really didn't know that you could be a mountaineering athlete, pro and be paid to do that. Like it just was not on my radar. I didn't understand that was a job. And that's not what I was aiming for. I was just pursuing something because I really loved it.
You were just in the joy of it.
I was in the joy, just out every day. I just wanted to do it as much as possible. It was only when one of the brands called me into the office and they were kind of showing me all the clothes, showing me all the equipment. I had different teams coming in, asking me all these questions. I was like, huh.
You're getting free stuff.
Yeah. I'm like, is this just free clothes? And then we started talking about all the cool stuff I'd done. And one of the routes that I'd done that year was called the Phantom Direct. We did the first female ascent of the longest ice route on the Mont Blanc Massif. And that kind of gained a little bit of attention. And there was a discussion around that and what my next projects were. And I was like, okay, I didn't really know where this conversation is going. But finally, they told me that, okay, like we can offer you something and you can take it or you can leave it or you can find some other sponsors. And I was like, wow, okay, I don't have any other sponsors, but this sounds like a really good deal. I think I'm going to take it. And from then I realized, okay, like this can be a career. Like this can, like I can quit my data job and I can actually do this full time. I can focus, I can train, I can have projects where I go away for 4 weeks and go on expedition. Like opened up this whole new world of really being able to pursue being an athlete like full time, properly, with all my energy.
That's incredible. And with that, other brands have stepped in, and now you've got a team of brands that essentially are your dream financiers. Like if you can come up with it, they support you to go and do it.
Yeah, and the great thing about me as an athlete in terms of how I'm sponsored is I'm not competing. So I don't need to bring home like an Olympic gold medal. What I'm doing is using my creativity in the mountains to go and open routes that have never been opened before or never been dreamed of before, and really showing that these things are possible.
Within extreme sports and in alpine sports, there are plenty of your peers who they may get off on, oh, that person did that, well, I'm going to go do it faster, or I'm going to go do it and take more risks. It can be done better. You have firmly built yourself around this idea of discovery and first ascents or first descents, breaking new trail, new routes. What is it about you as a person that lends to that choice?
Well, I guess I'm quite creative, as I was with my old job. So you have this like canvas, you have a look at it, and you imagine, okay, I'm going to take this line up. You have this whole imagination to just think, okay, what could be possible? So I guess that is like the creative side in me, just following a line and imagining how I could get to the top of a mountain or how I could ski my way down. And yeah, just being really curious, always thinking, okay, I wonder if it's possible to climb here with ice axes or to ski this like really crazy rock face. Like that curiosity, I think, is just like driving me.
When you look in the rearview mirror at in your resume of the things you've done, what are you proud of?
I don't know if it's one particular route, but I think it's more.
We've got time.
I think it's more like.
Give us the hits. Give us the hits, Fay.
The hits. Well, for me, I'm just really proud of being able to be this multi-sport athlete. So to open 6 steep ski lines and for nobody to have actually repeated those before. And then also to open a mixed line in Pakistan on Trango 2 and open a 1,000 meter rock line in Patagonia. It's such like a vast skill set to have to cross all of these sports and to have like, look at 1 year and think, okay, in that year, I opened this really cool, rad, steep ski line. I also opened a really hard rock climb and another crazy, bold mix line. It's like being able to have like the strength and the skill to do all 3 of those things in 1 year. That's something I'm really proud of.
It's incredible, because if you were just a single sport athlete and you had those accomplishments in just one discipline, you'd be celebrated. And I think you're celebrated and also just marveled at, like, how? I wonder how these different disciplines, how they might inform each other for you. Like, how does rock climbing affect your skiing and vice versa?
Climbing has really helped my steep skiing. So for ski mountaineering, if you're skiing down a really steep face, you're going in between rocks, there's sections of ice, There's sections of like really sketchy, like bad variable snow. It's really cool to have that flexibility to, say, build an anchor and be like, okay, this section here is not skiable. Like, I just need to take a 30-meter abseil down here and then carry on skiing. Or even just say, okay, I'm really easy to put on my crampons and my ice axe and use my ice axes and transition in this spot, and I can just down climb a little bit. And having that ability to adapt has really helped me.
Yeah, because as sometimes there's pressure for skiers and snowboarders, especially with big descents, to do the thing that looks like not doable.
Yeah.
Which can get you in trouble. And you're not like, we'd say, you're not chucking carcass. You have the option to be like, okay, I can actually navigate that in a different way.
Yeah.
That really understands the touch and feel of what's underneath here, and instead of just trying to like plow through. And in a place where there's already so much danger, it sounds like having all your skill sets kind of helps you to mitigate.
Yeah. And being pretty humble, not having the ego to think, yeah, I'm just going to jump this massive cliff when there's like really exposed terrain below. Just considering, okay, where is my skill set? What do I feel comfortable with doing? How are the conditions? And being able to turn around if you have to, or put your crampons if you want to, and not like having that like internal pressure to like force you into a situation that you can't really deal with.
Knowing when to just sort of yield to the mountain.
Yeah.
As opposed to, the mountains can't be conquered.
No.
You talk about these new routes, but put into context what's required of you physically, mentally to achieve a new route.
Firstly, there's a lot of planning that goes into climbing a new route. You need to find a mountain that hasn't been climbed. Then you need to figure out how to get there, how you're going to get off. And same with skiing. You really need to just do a lot of research. It's even harder in skiing because you can't see the leftovers of how to get down, because essentially if you just ski the whole line, there's not going to be an anchor that's left in. There's not going to be rope left on the mountain. You really have to like talk to the locals, look in the guidebooks, really define if something has been skied or climbed or not. But beyond all of the research, physically, it's a lot more strenuous, because if you're going into something unknown, you have to carry whatever equipment you think might be needed. So you're carrying backup equipment. You might take a small rack of protection with you if you know what to expect, if you're repeating a route.
And when you say protection, for people who've never climbed, what does that mean?
It means like when you're going up the climb, you want to place some protection as you go. So it might be a cam or some nuts, but it's protection so that you can clip in your rope, and if you fall, then you can fall on that protection. And then the person who's coming second, they'll take that protection out. And when you don't know what to expect, you need all different sizes, all different types. You end up taking a lot more with you. Which
requires so much more physically.
Yeah, and then you have a heavier rucksack. You have to just be prepared for everything. Maybe the route is going to take you much longer than you think. Maybe you want to take a sleeping bag with you on the route. You want to take more clothes. You don't know how long it's going to take. You might need to take way more water, way more food. So it ends up being really, really heavy to just make a start, because you just don't know what's going to come, and you just need to be prepared for that.
And how does that tax the body while you're doing the thing?
It can be really, really strenuous. Quite often after I've opened a new route, I'll have to have like at least 3 or 4 days rest.
Wow.
Just for my mental state, and also just physically, because I feel absolutely exhausted. Like, so much adrenaline goes into it. When you're finished and you start to relax, you just realize, oh, my arms are hurting so much. Like, yeah, it drains a lot.
How do you stay prepared off snow? How have you developed your protocols from a fitness standpoint, training standpoint, to achieve what you're achieving?
I actually think being a multi-sport athlete works really well. I mean, there's people that go CrossFit training every week, and that's what I'm doing. If I'm mixing up my sports, I'm like climbing one day, skiing the next day, a different style of climbing the day after. It's like doing CrossFit training. Like maybe one day I'm skinning up the piece like really, really quickly to try and get my cardio going. Another day I might just do strength training on my legs and I'm just powder skiing. And then another day I'm really like working out on my arms, doing something steep and overhanging. It's like, yeah, it's like I'm always training different components of my body. And actually they end up helping me for the other sports. Also, it really prepares me mentally. The more I train outside, the more it's like the real thing. And then it's training me mentally as well.
And that mental part, I think, is probably more important and plays a far more of a key role than people might realize, especially when things go bad.
Yeah, and especially with climbing, because really to progress in climbing, you need to be taking some falls because you're climbing outside of your comfort zone, which quite often means falling on the protection that you have below. So,
and when you say falling on the protection, tell me if I'm wrong, but that means things in this moment are going really well. Then all of a sudden they're not, and I don't have a hold, and I can't put anything, and next thing you know, swinging the rope, catching it, slamming into a rock wall.
yeah, exactly.
Falling onto the protection sounds so cool compared to what it really is. Yeah. What is that like to suddenly be free falling, now need to trust the protections that you've put in, and then prepare your body to slam into rock, ice, perhaps a medley of all those things at the same time?
Actually, it depends. For me, usually when I'm climbing, I want to like send the route so much that I'm thinking about climbing and I'm not thinking about falling. And also as you go up and you're placing protection, you're thinking, okay, I'm placing this. Is this good? Just in case I fall on it. It's not like you're up there and then at the point you're falling, you're like, I wonder if that protection that I placed was good because now I'm about to fall on it. You're thinking about it as you're placing it, which makes you feel better.
Right.
Because you can place it and then you can be like, okay, this is good. I can go above this.
And like in all the other sports, falling is part of the game. You need to learn how to fall. Do you need to learn how to fall as a climber?
Yeah, you need to learn how to fall, and also you need to have a good belayer to give you a soft catch. So really have to have trust with your partner as well.
And how do you pick your partners? Because as I think about it here, listening to you describe it, yes, joy, fun, the power of the mountains, Mother Nature, we are communing as one. This is amazing. Also stressful as can be.
Yeah.
Things can go bad. How do you find someone to be able to be in the joy with, but also like when things go bad, to know that you're going to have each other's back?
For me, self-awareness is really important. So I really need my partner to be aware of what their strengths are, what they're bringing to the team, what they need from me, and to really communicate that with me. So for me, just honesty and like self-awareness is really important. And then actually the skill of the person is not as important, as long as I know what that is, and then I know what to expect. That's really key for me.
It's not a matter of if something's going to go bad in climbing, but when. And when that happens, how you respond. You did a climb in India where things went bad, and you had to rely on all of the data, and you're also with another person that you really needed to be all of the things that you just described. Take us through that journey of what happened.
So in India, we'd been on the wall for a few days. We'd been trying to climb to the top of Chokamba 3. It's a mountain that's never been summited before. It was a really technical line. Involved some really difficult rock climbing, some mixed climbing. We'd had pretty reasonable weather, and essentially with rockfall, we lost our equipment.
What does that mean?
It means that some rock essentially dislocated off the mountain face and severed the rope that was holding a bag with all of our equipment on it. And unfortunately, we just saw the bag drop down the mountain.
How high were you when this took place?
Above 6,000 meters.
That's like 18,000 feet, 20,000 feet.
Yeah. So really high altitude, very cold. Like we experienced like minus 20. So it was really, really cold temperatures. And unfortunately, we lost our kind of ability to melt snow to make water and to cook our food, because we had dehydrated food where you need to add water, and we didn't have any water. We also lost my crampons, my ice axes. So we only had one pair of crampons, one pair of ice axes. And we didn't have enough equipment to be able to build all of the anchors that we wanted to retreat from the mountain. So we were essentially stranded up there without all of our essential equipment that we needed to be at that height on the mountain and able to retreat safely.
That could have been you and your partner, that rock separation. That could have been an area that you were on that separated, and you could have, in that moment, lost your life. So when that happens, how were you able to get out of it?
So first of all, Michelle climbed up to where I was, and obviously she was shaking and really scared, and we were both in kind of shock, I guess. And then almost immediately I said, okay, we're not going to be able to get off the mountain safely because we don't have enough gear to abseil down. And even if we get down, it's really dangerous for somebody to try and cross the glacier, a steep glacier, like with ice, crevasses. Not having crampons on ice axes would be like, you'd just really just slip.
Sliding, yeah.
So we need to call for help. We just need to tell somebody that we're not in a good position. Like somebody needs to know. So first thing we did was to send a message, because we had an emergency, it's called an inReach. And so you can send an emergency message to kind of alert the local rescue service that you're in a fragile position and that you're in an emergency. So that was the first thing that we did. And then the next thing was just to talk about what we could do for the rest of the day. Like, we only had 2 hours of daylight left, and actually it was kind of no visibility. So it was like complete fog. And when you're going up, it's kind of okay because you're kind of climbing through the fog and you can see a little bit in front of you each time. But when you're trying to abseil down, quite often you want to look down and see, okay, this is where I'm aiming for. This is where I could build an anchor. There's a crack there. And so it was really intimidating not having enough gear to build an anchor and also not being able to see where you could build an anchor. So we were in a really tricky position as to what we should do. So we just abseiled down to like the nearest ledge that we knew was there. And we decided to just sleep there for the night and just reassess the next day and just see what happens.
And how did you get out of that situation?
So over the course of the next 2 days, we saw a helicopter come to search for us, but they couldn't see us on the mountain. So
I hate this movie.
It was really horrible just seeing the helicopter come and then thinking, oh, they're coming to get us. And then saying,
This is like in the movies. No!
Yeah, it was. And we had like some orange clothing, bright orange clothing, like really just hoping that if we wave it, they could see us. And we were just like tiny little features on this huge rock face.
Just merging within all the other landscape.
Would be really impossible to see us on the mountain unless they knew exactly where we were. And so, like, I had this belief that they would be able to find us, but like deep down inside, I knew that there was no way. Even if they found us, they wouldn't have been able to like pull us off the rock face. So we just focused on trying to get down. So we spent the next couple of days just trying to get down the rock wall with like the limited amount of gear that we had left. And we finally made it down almost to the bottom of the rock, which was like incredible, like safely. And yeah, I'd never want to have to do that with that limited amount of gear again.
How did your relationship that you had built with each other serve you through that impossibility?
It was great that Michelle and I had a long-standing relationship in the mountains where we really trusted one another. We'd already been on multiple expeditions together and climbed new routes. So we had an incredible amount of trust, and also we really cared for each other. And having that kind of caring nature to each other and wanting both of us to live through that situation, like that really helped us kind of feel more warmth, even though we were really cold.
Yeah. People in the general population, I think immediately would say, well, why wouldn't you be done after that?
I never considered at any point during that process to not climb mountains anymore. Even at night when I was shivering and I was really cold and I wasn't sure whether I would still be able to have the energy to stay warm the next morning, it wasn't crossing my mind, oh, I wish I'd never come here and never tried this mountain. It doesn't impact how I feel today about climbing mountains and opening new routes. And the optimistic side in me likes to think that it will never happen again.
In this world, you don't have the luxury of not having lost people to the type of accidents that you survived.
When I was in Pakistan on expedition, I was away for 5 weeks. And while I was in Pakistan on expedition, I had a phone call from one of my close friends who unfortunately told me that my best friend Lena had died in the mountains, in the Alps back at home. And that was just the most unexpected phone call. I thought I was the one away on expedition, and when I left, I thought everything would be the same when I returned home. And that situation that she died in was an avalanche, was really quite a freak avalanche, and I assume was quite uncontrollable. She was descending a mountain, and was really hard and really sad to lose her. But these things happen, and sometimes you can't control them.
How do you move forward when you lose those who are close to you? How do you work through that?
Takes time. I was driven to, I guess, carry through her dreams into the mountains and her dreams of inspiring women to go into the mountains, and really make that one of my goals so that she could be proud of me and she could feel like her existence was really meaningful, and her being in the mountains was really meaningful too. And so while I was in Pakistan, I climbed a new route, and I opened this route with her in mind and her style in mind. I climbed one part of the route was this wide crack, and she loves wide crack climbing, and I was climbing it with ice axes, and I was imagining her face and imagining that she would really enjoy this pitch. And we named the route after her and one of the phrases that she made up and she really enjoyed saying. And also this concept of really inspiring women into the mountains, and the fact that really it was her passion to push women into mountaineering and to make them see that it's a place for everybody, not just a place for men in the mountains. And taking that through with me, it feels really special. It feels like she's still living and she's still like inspiring people through me, which is really nice.
I really appreciate you sharing that. And I know that is deeply personal. And I imagine it really, you have that feeling of her still being with you.
Yeah.
As a result. The mountaineering world and extreme sports world is still very much dominated by men. For the most part, men are making the rules. What does it mean to you to find yourself not only pioneering in the way that you are, but creating this space? You know, I'm sure that you get the letters and the DMs on a regular basis from women who are like, hey, because of what I've seen you do, here's how I've reworked the entirety of my life to be able to take up space, not ask for permission, but to take up space in these mountains.
For me, representation is really important. I just opened a new mix line in Switzerland and I called it Elle aussi, so girls also, because in the guidebook, it's just filled with the names of the men that have opened all the mixed routes in the area. And there wasn't any all-female teams that had opened a route on this cliff. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, this needs to change. Like, girls need to open this guidebook and see, okay, these two girls have opened this really rad line. Like, that's something that I can do. And so for me, it was really cool to open like a hard technical route as an all-female team, give it a really strong, powerful name, and kind of send the message out there to other women to say, okay, like, of course you can do this. There's a place for you in the mountains. You can open these hard routes too. And it's not just the names of guys that are in all these guidebooks. Like, it's changing, and there's place for both women and men in this industry.
What do you have left that you'd like to do so that when you find yourself in this place where you're looking at legacy, like it or not, that's going to happen, you're able to look in the rearview mirror and be like, yeah, we're good?
I would really, really love to just inspire people to not be afraid of transforming their life, of doing something that really scares them, making a radical change, stepping completely out of their comfort zone, trying something new. Just be inspired to try really, really hard at something and feel really good as a result. Like, that for me would be a super cool legacy, just to inspire people.
Well, you're doing it. It's really, really has been a pleasure just getting to spend a little bit of time that I did with you on the mountain. And the feeling that I had after even such a relatively short climb, that feeling that I had at the top is not one that I've ever had on the best wave or at the end of the best run in my life. It was a really unique feeling because it opened up a possibility within myself that I never would have thought that I would have access to. And there was a really powerful new type of freedom in playing in this particular dialect of joy and fear. Like, I've been in the joy and fear zone before, but this language that you guys speak going up the side of a mountain, yeah, there's something really, really powerful about it. And then it's just, it's cool to listen to you be able to give us perspective of what that journey is like at the highest level. So thank you.
So you're coming back for more?
Yeah, you've You've definitely made a nice climber out of me. Like I'd like to do it again for real. But yeah, thank you very, very much. This was a really special conversation.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And thanks to you all for watching. If you enjoyed this conversation, we implore you to please subscribe to the Team Ignition YouTube channel. And if you would like to watch Fay climb and a little bit of my very bad climbing, then be sure to go to teamignition.net. Next time on the Team Ignition Show.
It's very dangerous even for a beginner. Like, actually even more for a beginner. Break, 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 break. Okay, let it go, let it go.